Yes, welcome back to Let's Play ILLBLEED. Now that we have Dave's rusty key, we can see what's behind the locked gate. There are some more movie billboards back here, and one of the cinematic classics they were showing was Mutant Worms. It came from the underground. Oh, delicious irony. And they were also showing some classy films as well, as we can see that this one was nominated in the prestigious National Award 12 section. The sixth sense is going off, and that's because there's an enemy encounter right here. I could have avoided it, but this is a pretty rare enemy. We've got a couple of faceless women, like the one that runs the visitor's bank. I think we only encounter this enemy 2 or 3 times across the whole game. They're armed with handguns, and they do a considerable amount of damage. But perhaps getting into this fight wasn't a great idea, as Kevin is bleeding way too much now. Fortunately, their gunshots do just as much damage to each other as one of them just killed the other, and fighting one by itself isn't difficult, as they are slow to attack. Alright, adrenaline. Useless adrenaline. I'll use our one bandage here to take the bleeding down a bit, but we're going to have to refrain from running until the bleeding goes down some more. This is generally what you're going to end up doing when you're bleeding too much in ILLBLEED. You're going to be walking around and trying to avoid running. In this area, we just happen to be able to do that. Not in every area, though. And Dummy Man is the star of a well-known horror series in the world of ILLBLEED. I don't know about you, but nothing makes me want to see a movie quite like Gratuitous Eye Injury. And they were even showing the new Godla movie here, though I heard it isn't as good as the Japanese originals.
Dummy Man. Dummy Man. Knock down, Dummy Man. Ugh.
Knock down Dummy Man? What might this cryptic hint be in reference to? Well, there is an enemy encounter spot right to the left of us, which is why the sixth sense is bleeping. If we walked into it, we'd be attacked by Dummy Man. I'm not going to do that since I'm trying to get Kevin's bleeding to go down. So Dummy Man does lose his shot at us for this level. But while you might think that is what the dying Draunt employee was talking about, it isn't. He was referring to Dummy Man's movie posters. Now, why would we want to knock those down? We'll see in a little bit. Hey, look who's here. So it's off to the work hut we go. That's just where this path happens to be leading. But Dave's corpse, it seemed like it's been out there for a while, hasn't it? I mean, it's just a skeleton now, but you'd think there'd be more left, as it seemed to be saying that he killed himself just 4 days ago. Yes, once again, you do spend a lot of the time in ILLBLEED doing this. Walking. Because we're just bleeding too much. And the tagline on that one is a little hard to read. I think it says, not a mummy, I am dummy. But anyway, here's the work hut. So, now to find that flamethrower.
Rachel?
Please burn Rachel, please.
That giant worm is Rachel?
Yes, the big revelation. Rachel is indeed the Queen Worm. She became gigantic from drinking gasoline. Dave raised her as his daughter, and it would seem that she became enraged when Dave killed himself. So the massacre here was her revenge. So there you are, mystery solved. And by looking out the window right here, we can see Attack of the Monster Bee is outside. And as Dave's note said, he buried the flamethrower underneath it. So, let's go dig it up. Well, there it is, but there's one problem. It's out of fuel. We're going to need to find some, but the only place we can find it is in the drive-in area, where Rachel is. But if we walk on the dirt in there, we're going to be attacked. So, how are you supposed to get through Rachel's area? By knocking down Dummy Man. The bolts on the 3 Dummy Man billboards are loose, so by using the wrench that we just picked up, we can knock them down, which will create the platforms that we can walk on. A little tricky to figure out if you didn't actually try to examine the billboards. You don't get a reaction if you try to examine any of the other ones. It's only the Dummy Man ones that give you the message that the bolts are loose. Dave doesn't bother to tell you where the fuel is either. You just have to figure it out by yourself. You can use the item sensor to see where the items are, and by using that you can figure out that there are a couple items in the drive-in area that you can't reach. That's pretty much the only way you're going to be able to figure out that you have to go in there. So that's all 3 knocked down, so let's head back to the entrance so we can see what we have to do. And now it's time for everyone's favorite video game mechanic, a jumping puzzle, because areas that require precision jumping in a game that is not a platformer are always winning ideas. Now we're going to change the camera angle for this. There are 4 camera angles that we can choose. Normally I like the close-up camera that we've been using, which is auto-follow camera 1. But we'll be using autofollow camera 2 for this, which keeps the camera in a fixed position behind the character, but pulls it back so we can see more around him. So as long as we can keep off the dirt here, Rachel won't realize that we're right here, and everything will be fine. Or we could mess up and touch the dirt. That works too. Again, there's nothing we can do against the queen worms, so let's just call our mysterious helicopter friend to get out of here. And we're deposited back at the entrance. So yes, if we mess up here, we get to start it all over again. Except, notice that entering the battle sequence raised Kevin's pulse by 25. So if you mess this up a few times, you're going to risk shock death.